Well, hello, good morning. Welcome to Cooking with Phil Darst. I'm Phil Darst, and I said good morning because this is going to be breakfast this morning. This is something that everybody knows about, but not everybody knows exactly how to fix them the hard way. So we're going to show you how to do that in a minute. We're going to have pancakes, and I enjoy pancakes myself. Maybe you do. So we're going to get into that. We're going to make them from scratch today, and we're going to use our sourdough starter. We've shown a sourdough video before, and I'm going to put it down below here so you can see again exactly how we make it, because I find it to be quite an addition to any meal that has anything with flour, biscuits, cornbread, pizza, flatbreads, all those things that we like to have with flour. I haven't been having them for a while because while I was working with them and experimenting, I put an extra inch around the waist here. So I've gotten rid of the carbs for a while, but just for you today, I'm going to make pancakes. I hope you'll enjoy this video. If you're new here and this is your first time, thank you for showing up. And if you're a subscriber and you've been watching our other videos, I'm sure glad to have you back. I appreciate your loyalty. I hope you'll share this with some other people because I think you're going to find it of interest if you like pancakes for breakfast or even lunch. So I'll be seeing you shortly. We'll get into the ingredients. There's more to them than you might think. See you in a minute. Well, here we are, and I told you I was going to show you the ingredients. Now I'm also going to show you the cheater box. If you don't want to do everything I'm doing here, you can buy pancake mix. I've used that before, I'll confess, but it doesn't do exactly what we're going to do here. So I'm going to set this aside and show you the real ingredients that we're going to be using. Now, one of the first things that we've done, and again, I put a link down in the bottom about our starter here, and if you notice this yellow stuff, this is what they call hooch. This is the fermentation process from our sourdough starter that we have. I am stirring it up a little bit, and just to get it all kind of blended in there, and that is our leavener. So we're going to use that as leavener as well as something else to get a real good rise on the pancakes. It's also going to make them nice and tender. So I'll set that aside for a minute and we'll get into some of the other things. One of the very basic things that we use in pancakes, of course, is flour. This is a self-rising flour. I'm getting a little bit low, but there's at least a cup in there, and that's all we're going to need for this recipe. The other thing is sugar. Now, if you're not too big into sugar, I understand that. I've done it with stevia, but today we're going to go full tilt. We're going to put some sugar in there. Now, we're also going to add some extra leavener to make it rise. This is just pure Arm & Hammer baking soda. You're going to see the quantities in the recipe there. And the other thing is baking powder, which is a little different than baking soda, but it's a leavener as well. And then, of course, salt seems to go well with a lot of things that we use. Salt is used around the world as one of the most valuable commodities we have. What's going to make this a little different and give it a little oomph in the flavor is vanilla liquid here. This is vanilla that we use once in a while, so we're going to put a little bit of that. I am going to get real decadent here and use true butter. This is butter. Sometimes I use ghee, sometimes I use oil. We're also going to cook it in coconut oil. And then I've got an egg. Now, they show us in the recipe here to put an egg in this. I don't like to do it, and the reason I don't is because I don't like an egg sitting in the starter while it's there for a while, because I took this starter out this morning to let it rise a little bit, and it has gone up a bit, and I don't like to set something around on a table or counter somewhere that's got egg in it, because it might give me food poisoning, and that isn't something I want. So that's the ingredients. I'm going to spare you the watching me measure them and putting them in little bowls, and I'm going to measure them out, and then I'm going to go over here to the stove and I'm going to start cooking, and you're going to watch. So we'll see you in a minute or two. Well, I'm back now, and I did spare you some of the measuring that I did. I've got the dry ingredients in here, and I've also got the stuff that I took out when I sifted. I did sift the flour, and this is the stuff that we're not going to have in our pancake, so that's kind of good. Now, I was thinking about putting water in, because I often do that, but since you're watching, I'm going to use milk, or half and half, make it real nice and rich. And I'm also going to start with our starter, so we're just going to use a cup of starter here right now. And I'm going to put that in first, and I'm going to give it just a slight stir. Now, if you deal a lot with flour, you know that you don't want to beat it up too much to get all the gluten wound up in your food, and so we don't do a lot of stirring. Now, here goes a cup of milk, and I'm going to put half of it in here now and see if that's enough, because quite often it is, and I don't want it too runny. Now, I am going to let it set up a little bit, and if you can see here, we're mixing it up, spilling a little bit. It's a little bit lumpy, and again, it's good sometimes to have a little bit of lump in here. Now, I'm going to get down to the vanilla, and I'm going to put not quite a full tablespoon in there. That's a little more than half, and that's going to give it a little taste that you don't often recognize in pancakes. And I guess we're right, we're going to use a little bit more milk in here to get that a little bit looser. And if you can see what I'm doing, I'm spilling a lot of it, but I guess we can get that cleaned up. Now, the next step is to let it set a while. Sometimes you can mix this up the night before and put it in the refrigerator, and when it goes into the skillet cold, it's still pretty good. So that's about it for now. I'm going to put the lid back on here, and I'm going to let this set, and then I'm going to come over to the stove and start cooking a few pancakes for you. See you in a minute. Well, we've made it this far. We're at the cooking stage now. I've been heating up the skillet, and I'm checking it out to be sure that it's hot enough. I put some coconut oil in there. You can use different types of oils. I don't like canola. I wouldn't use the olive oil in it because it gives the pancakes a little extra flavor, and it seems like this coconut oil does a job, and it's nice to cook with. Now, I've let this set for a while you were gone doing whatever you did, and I'm just going to pour that in there and start making a pancake. Now, I'm sure you've made pancakes before. I don't know if you've made any quite like these, especially from scratch. A lot of people don't do that, but that's what we're doing today. I've got a lot of oil in there so we don't burn it, and as you notice, I'm using my mama's iron skillet. That's probably about 100 years old, and it's still in pretty good shape. So I've got a pancake sitting in here. What we're wanting to do is let it bubble a bit, and the bubbles are starting to come up, and I want to get it a little bit dry around the edge before I flip it over, so we're going to do that in a minute or two. Now, the other thing that I'm going to be doing over here is I told you I had an egg. I'm going to put an egg on my pancake. So you'll see how that works out in a second. I'm sure you've cooked eggs before. I've got a skillet over here warming up. And I'm going to put a little bit of butter in here. That's why I had the butter out, because I like butter and egg. And there we go. So we're going to let that kind of go for a little bit. Get this out of our way. I don't know if that's quite ready to flip or not. Notice I got my glove on. That isn't my best glove, but it's one that I need right now. And so let's see how we're doing here. I think we can probably turn this over, and there it is. It's not quite golden brown, but you see it's nice and fluffy. It's going to be tender and good, and we're going to enjoy that in a few minutes. I'm going to lay the butter aside and get me a plate. Because I want to put that pancake on there. I'm going to make a second pancake a little bit later, but right now we're getting this one ready to go. And let's see if we're about ready for egg. I don't know if you can see me over here or not. I'm getting ready to cook some egg and getting that skillet heat up. We'll change it in a second or two, but I thought you'd enjoy what we're doing. And this is a good breakfast. This is going to hold me till lunchtime. Not sure what's going to be available for lunch. Probably an avocado, because like I said, I put an inch on the waist. I'm eating the carbs and the pancakes. So probably for lunch, I'll just have a simple avocado sandwich. That'll be about it. I'm thinking that's getting pretty close to being done. It's real light on the other side. And you see it's nice and fluffed up a little bit. And I'm going to lay it on this plate. I believe that's ready. Now, what we're going to do is have a little bit of a shift. And we're going to bring, so we don't have to shut down and move the camera, I'm going to move the skillets and exchange skillets here. And I'm going to put an egg in this one and have egg and pancake shortly. There we go. That came out just about right. Now we're going to make another pancake in the other skillet. I'm going to put a little bit of oil here. You don't have to see this. You know what we've done already. But I'm going to have 2 pancakes today because it's getting kind of late in Sarasota. This is more brunch than lunch for me. Let's see if I can do that without getting burned. There we got it. Oh, there's pancake 2. And then I'm going to show you something that you may have missed before in our sourdough recipe. You're going to get to see that again, but you noticed I got some pancake stuff in here, and what I'm going to do is reach over here and get our starter, and I'm going to feed it. And that is one of the things that keeps the starter going. And I'm putting that in there. Now that should hold up for about a week. And I'll put that back in the refrigerator. It'll sit there. It'll make the leavening nice for us. And I can make biscuits, I can make cornbread, I can make a lot of other stuff. And if you like what we're doing and want to see some of that, tell me down there in the comments that you're interested in some of the things that we do with sourdough, because I use it quite a bit. And I think I'm about done with this part. I'm going to get ready and go over to the table when my egg's finished here. And I'll watch this other pancake, but I'll see you over there for lunch. Be back in a minute. Well, I got to tell you, I'm ready. I'm more than ready. Usually it doesn't take me this long to have breakfast. I got to get a little pepper for my egg here. And it's been sitting there a little bit. Pepper and pancakes, how's that sound to you? So I'm going to dig in here. I've got my coffee ready. I've got 2 pancakes now. I've got honey, we've got stevia, and I've got some special Crescent Beach grocery. It's called Traffic Jam from Crescent Beach Grocery over at Siesta Key. My next door neighbor Mike gets me that, and I enjoy it quite a bit. So we're going to see how this works out. I'm going to tell you those pancakes are looking nice and fluffy. That's good. And the taste is there. Again, I don't know how new eggs on pancakes are to you, but I know it's been a good idea for me. I'm going to try and quit eating with my mouth full. I get a little bit of that vanilla flavor in there. So that, I believe, is a nice addition. It's going to go especially well on this one. This one, we're going to put the sweet stuff on it. And I'm going to get ready to say goodbye and finish my meal here. I've enjoyed having you today. If you're new and haven't subscribed, I hope you will. I'd like for you to share this with your friends. Like it if you will. If you like it, it seems that YouTube gives us more views, so more people are going to see it. So if it's good for you, it should be good for them too. And if you're new and this is your first time, I sure appreciate you stumbling on to us, however you did. And I want to remind you that down at the bottom, below the picture, the video, if you'll go in down there, you're going to see how we make the sourdough. Now, I didn't get as much interest in it as I thought I would, but I bet that's because a lot of people don't know what sourdough is. But I'm going to tell you, if you'll use it and try it, you can put it in a lot of foods and it gives them a lot of flavor that you just don't get in regular things. So with that, I'm going to say I appreciate you. Glad to have you, as I've said. And I'm going to say goodbye for today. And I'm going to finish my brunch here. Have some coffee too.